Hello everybody, it's the 14th of March and this is part 2 of the spring video for this Japanese maple which I've grown from seed over the past 7 or 8 years. Memory serves, it was 2015 that I sowed this seed and it would have germinated 2016 I think, there or thereabouts. My memory's not the greatest these days, but there you go. I have cleaned off some more of the surface of the pot, and I'm now doubting my choice of front, which was more or less this, and I'm now thinking that we have a better Navarre if I use this as my front, but we'll have a better look at that in just a moment. So this is my perceived front, and a reasonable root flare, and some great taper in the trunk, but if I come round to here, I think we have a slightly more attractive root flare, and a slightly better taper. Sometimes you don't see things the first time you look at a tree, or when you're working on a tree initially. You can settle on an idea that later isn't always the right one. Now, if I go with this, then I need to do something else with the branch placement. And honestly, I think I am going to go with this as my new front. So, what's that do to the branch placement? With this as my front, I had an issue that my lowest branch wasn't the thickest branch, so coming back to this angle as a front, that kind of eliminates the problem, because that then becomes a back branch, and I don't really have much here, but I have a branch here that I can encourage to grow out to become another side branch. I would need to do something about this strange piece that I don't like, and indeed possibly this piece, but that's okay, I can do that. So all in all, I think I'm going to change the front and change the tree some more. If you haven't watched part 1 rather, this is part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, and I didn't say this just now, and I don't know what I did say just now, I will link it in the description, and I'll try and put a card here somewhere as well. But go back and watch part 1 first, and then come back here for part 2 when it's going to go into its nice shiny blue new pot, which is slightly oversized for the tree at this stage, but I intend to grow the tree bigger, and as he used to say about my old school blazers, it'll grow into it. So out with the turntable, in with the potting tray, and let's get this tree out of this seed tray. Just come away quite nicely, and as you can see, the advantage of putting a tree into a seed tray like that is it gets it used to a nice wide and flat root base before it goes into a bonsai pot. So I know now this is pretty much my front, and so I'm going to have to lose quite a bit in order to get it into the pot. So using a bit of judgment, I'm just going to slice it and dice it with my old pruning shears, which I've had for about 20 something years, and they just get used for root work, and they go on and on and on. Right, Coopy Doo, Them tractors making a lot of racket up the road. I don't know if the video's picking it up, but the farmer's obviously doing something up the road, just the other side of the field, and there's a lot of bashing and crashing, loud noises. And Cooper, being a border collie, they're well known for their dislike of sudden noises and things, and he's always been a bit of a wuss about loud banging noises since he was a puppy, ain't ya? Sometimes they do clay pigeon shooting just up the road, and he absolutely hates it. Okay, so by taking off all the stuff that's wrapped around the pot, all these long roots, hopefully that'll give the tree an opportunity to get out into some fresh compost in the pot. Now I'm not going to rake it out entirely because it's been raked out other years, other times, but I am going to work on getting rid of some more of this mossy, weedy surface. So I will do that, but I won't make you watch. Okay, so that's better. Yes, this is my front, and I do have some nice radial roots coming out in most directions, which hopefully will continue to thicken up over the coming years, and we have this rather nice root flare. Now I'm just going to clear away some of the stuff from the bottom of the root ball, leaving a nice root plate that'll sit nicely in the new pot, and won't even really need wiring in, which is nice. If you've tried to get hold of any, you'll know that the cat litter I use, Kitty Friend Pink, is out of stock almost everywhere. I was lucky to get a bag online, but I probably got the last bag because it's nowhere available online either anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse some of this that I've just cleaned out from the roots of that maple, and obviously I'm going to have to sieve it to get rid of all the old roots and things, and then I will heat treat it to sterilise it a bit, although I don't think there's any terrible bugs in here, and then I can add it to some fresh, that sort of, you know, probably about 80% fresh, 20% this, just to make it go a bit further because I've got a lot of trees to do. Okay, so once again I'm using these discs, which I'm not actually going to wire into place. They fit really snugly and fit quite smoothly over the holes. They've got no give in them, and I think the weight of the compost, once that goes in, will hold them snugly, and they should stay in place. First of all, let's just double check that this root ball will fit into the pot, which it will quite nicely, and position it somewhat over to the right hand side so that this branch will sweep over to this side of the pot. I'm thinking it's a little bit too central, front to back, so I'm just going to make a mess because I haven't got the potting tray in, but I'm going to take a little bit off the back side. Like so. That's better. So that'll fit quite neatly into that sort of quarter of the pot. perfect. Well, nothing's perfect, you know what I mean. Okay, so that's the pot about 2/3 full, and I think there's just enough room to fit the top of the tree. The top of the tree. The root ball of the tree into the pot quite snugly. I'm going to give it a good handful of controlled release fertilizer. This stuff only releases the feed into the pot when the conditions are wet enough and warm enough for plants to be in active growth, or so it claims, rather than the continuous release stuff that only gives out feed, or that gives out feed continually, as the name suggests. I figure this is slightly less wasteful. The downside is it only lasts for 3 months. That takes us through the first spurt of the summer, and then I can top up with liquid feeds in the autumn, or towards the autumn. So let's try the tree in, and as I thought, it's going to fit quite snugly in there, and because we've got that nice flat root base underneath, all the roots are going to be in good firm contact. A little bit more this way. I think that looks better. Yes, let's move you out so you can see how that looks. That definitely looks better. I'm quite happy with that placement. Slightly more to the rear and to the right of the pot. Looking rather nice. As I said, I do want to grow it out to a much larger tree over the next few years, and so although it looks a little bit like a pimple on a horse's back perhaps, it'll grow into it, as I said. So now all I need to do is fill it in. Could try getting it in the pot, Sid. I'm actually looking at it some more now and thinking that the tree could do with being slightly higher in the pot, so I'm going to pull it back out. I don't want it too high, nor do I want it too low. That's better. Yeah, no, I'm happier with that. Tuck some soil in the back there. Give it a bit of a gardener's tap, and then use my new little secret weapon to make sure I'm getting it in nicely around the edge of there. Do this left-handed again so I'm not blocking a view. This really is a great little tool for getting some soil around the edge of a root ball. Just where you want it. As I think I said in an earlier video, I looked a little bit askance at this tool when I got it for Christmas, but I've done a number of repots off camera of trees I've got that I haven't really exhibited, is that the right word? Featured on YouTube. And yeah, it really is handy. Okay, so that's the potting. I'm really happy with that. I don't think I've got any air gaps. Might want a little bit more in that corner. Okay, next job, I'm going to remove a couple of little branches. Let's move you in again. Okay, so with this being the new front, we now have a kind of T-bar arrangement which I hadn't particularly noticed when this would have been a back branch. I'm just going to remove that, and this is the branch I need to keep to fatten up. So I should be keeping an eye on how that grows in relation to other parts of the tree. It'll probably be just left to grow out for the rest of this season. I may need to put a bit of wire on it, depending on whether this bud grows away more strongly or that bud. There. Okay, now I just want to remove another couple of pieces. So move you on up. With this as the new front, this piece now just doesn't work. It was okay as a back branch, but I no longer like it there. So I'm getting rid of that. And I'm getting rid of this chunk at the back here as well. Okay. And I also want to now shorten that to that side branch there. Part of me wonders about losing this, but I'm going to keep it for now. I'm going to shorten this piece. But there we have it. Okay. Come back out of you, Coopsy. I've left the back door open. It's nice to have the weather a bit milder. It's supposed to be 10 degrees here today, but there's not much wind, so it doesn't feel anywhere near as cold as it has done in the last week or so. But it's nice to be able to have the door open so that Cooper can come in and out and sit with me when he wants to, and if he feels he's cold or whatever, he can trundle himself off in. He always has a bowl of food available, so he needs a nibble. He can go and get himself a nibble. A nibble? Yeah. Cooper Duper, why are you lurking just off camera? You want to not be a camera shy collie, you're going to have to be in shot better, mate. There we go. That water's running out nicely now. Hopefully rinse out any dust. And we'll pop the can in for scale and give you a quick 360. Yeah, I'm definitely happier with the new front. As I say, this branch needs to fill out quite a lot to compensate, and I'm going to need something in this area at some point, but it's much easier to get some branching up here than to completely change your root flare. So there you have it. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. Do appreciate you all watching. Thank you very much. Do all the usual YouTube things, the liking, the subscribing, the commenting, but most of all, please stay safe, everybody.